can develop pancreatitis. Now, this is also associated with NM1. Why? Because they have neuroendocrine tumors, which is your gastrinoma, Zollinger-Ellison, and your insulinomas. So there is an increase in your pancreatitis. The patient with primary hyperparathyroidism. And usually this is found in those patients with severe amount of your calcium, reaching more than 12.5. So normal, 1 to 2, diba? Millimoles per liter. But in these patients, it increases. So they have neuropsychiatric symptoms. Chlorine psychosis, obtundation, and coma. What is the physical examination? There is no palpable neck mass. Usually they are asymptomatic without palpable mass, except for parathyroid carcinoma. And usually there is anterior neck mass. We would diagnose it as thyroid nodule, not parathyroid tumors. What is the main differential diagnosis for hypercalcemia? It's malignancy. So you should rule out malignancy with hypercalcemia. And usually these are those with bone metastasis. And what type of bone malignancy that are involved in this hypercalcemia? Usually, it is a bone metastasis due to solid tumors such as the lungs, the breast, the kidneys, and the neck, ovary, and this can also be due to the humoral hypercalcemia. So if you're thinking of primary hyperparathyroidism due to adenoma, to hyperplasia, or either parathyroid carcinoma, you have to rule out a possibility of bone metastasis and look for the possible primary tumor that is causing hypercalcemia. Okay? If you cannot find any tumors, your primary differential should be a malignancy with bone metastasis. And usually it comes from the lungs and the breast. Usually, di ba, yung bacillus plexus, it's usually affecting our spinal vertebra. So pag walang cancer, wala ka makikitang primary site, so concentrate on the parathyroid. So hypercalcemia can also be found in hematological malignancies such as multiple myeloma. So you should rule out that type of malignancy. Okay, so use of thiazide diuretics can also cause primary hyperparathyroidism. So as I mentioned, most of our hypertensive drugs are combined with thiazides. So there are patients who have been using this chronically that can develop primary hyperparathyroidism. The good thing with medication, as you stop this medication, the calcium level normalizes. Yeah. So infection can also cause hypercalcemia, such as your sarcoidosis, in Filipinos, tuberculosis. It can be, tuberculosis. It can attack any organ. So, it can be due to some form of infection, such as sarcoidosis, tuberculosis. Okay, so what is your diagnostic biochemical findings? Usually there is an increase of your parathyroid hormone and a very high calcium level. So, mentioned earlier, the pathognomonic X-ray findings. So what is the indication of your parathyroidectomy and the role of medical management? So if it's persisting, most of the time the surgical indication is the presence of adenoma, hyperplasia, and worse, parathyroid carcinoma, especially in uncontrolled primary hyperparathyroidism. They have complications, that's why we will do parathyroidectomy. Now, in relation to medical treatment, we give bisphosphonates. Why? We want to protect the bone. If the patient doesn't want to undergo surgery, we protect the bones. We give anti-resorptive treatments such as your bisphosphonates. Or we can give hormonal therapy and selective estrogen receptor modulators. But most of the time we do surgery. Okay? So these are the indications that the patient, even though asymptomatic, should undergo surgery. What are the indications? Number one, the serum calcium at least should have more than 1 milligrams per deciliter above the normal, above the upper limit of normal level. Another is GFR. Your glomerular filtration rate is already less than 16 ml per minute. So, ibig sabihin nun?
Ang baba ng GFR.
Your kidney function is already affected. Your filtration rate is already affected. So, that's one indication. Another is a substantial decrease of your bone mineral density, especially in the lumbar spine, hip, and radial, distal radius. So there is the level. Now what are these areas? They are the ones prone to develop fractures. So don't wait for these fractures to occur. Fourth, age less than 50 years old. Bakit less than 50? Chances, it increases the chances that the patient cannot be controlled. The hyperparathyroidism cannot be controlled because it's a young patient. They can develop complications because it will take longer for them to die. So the earliest, the youngest, we do surgery because complications can occur in this case. And those with long-term medical surveillance. So you cannot, if the patient cannot regularly have regular checkup, they don't have the capacity, so So better do surgery to avoid the complications. So those are the indications that asymptomatic patient with a very high calcium level does not manifest or any of the classical symptoms of hyperparathyroidism, but their calcium level is very high, triple, quadruple level, persistent. Okay. So we don't wait for them to develop symptoms. We rely on these indications. If they are present, one of those, then you suggest surgery. So how would you look for this tumor? What is the best imaging? Systemic technetium scan. And what is this? Imaging is to be able to differentiate it from your thyroid nodules. They are specific for your parathyroid tumors, especially your adenomas, hyperplasia, and your parathyroid carcinoma. Ultrasound, pwede ba? So your first option for imaging is your systemic technetium scan. Now, how about ultrasound? Usually, this is the basic imaging. Di ba? Kasi because you're looking at the thyroid nodule, but it is coming from the parathyroid. And usually, this can also be used if there is an ectopic parathyroid gland inside the thyroid gland. Now, how about CT scan? You can still use the CT scan, but they are more indicated for ectopic parathyroid gland that is present in the mediastinum. So they are best in looking for these ectopic glands in the mediastinum. How about MRI? If your CT scan, your ultrasound, systemic scan is still equivocal, MRI can help us, especially for ectopic glands. Bakit ba ectopic tayo? Because we are looking for a tertiary type of parathyroid gland. So if we have done everything, we did total thyroidectomy and persistent and primary hyperparathyroidism, then we look for the ectopic gland. Ano yung ectopic gland? We have more than 4 glands. Diba? Normal natin 4 glands. Unfortunately, they are not also located in the normal position. They can be in the thymus, they can be in the thyroid gland, they can be in the mediastinum, but the most common location is the paraesophageal group. Okay. What is FGAD? This is the localization. Also, this is quite invasive. This is for the diagnosis, for histological diagnosis, guided by an imaging. Angiogram, this is for you to have a road map of your venous sampling, and at the same time, this can also be used for treatment, especially if there is an ectopic mediastinal gland. The same thing, we have your venous sampling. This is to lateralize. If your echovocal findings in the imaging is not clear, you use your venous sampling. You get this blood sample and determine which side or which gland is secreting too much parathyroid hormone. Now, how about after surgery? Intra-op. You want to know if you were able to remove the lesion. So, dapat meron kang baseline parathyroid hormone level. So, after surgery, kunyari isang gland lang yung affected. So, you were able to visualize it and you remove it. The best to determine if you remove the correct gland is your parathyroid assay. And this is done immediately intra-op after surgery. Anong makikita mo? Siyempre, if you will remove the right gland, what is the effect? Immediately, the level of your parathyroid hormone decreases. And automatically, your calcium also decreases. So that is a definitive diagnostic test after surgery. Intra-op. Alam mo na agad. Now, if it persists, ano ibig sabihin nun? Elevated. O, hindi pa natanggal. Hindi mo nakita. Hindi mo na evaluate. So, you have to inspect again your parathyroid gland. Okay? So, very important is the localization and what is the most ideal type of imaging and localization is your Systemi B scan. But usually we start with ultrasound. If you saw something in the parathyroid gland, the best is to do your Systemi B technetium scan. Your Systemi B scan can also be delayed. So if you are operating this patient in a few hours, you inject that, and you can still visualize the gland that has the tumor. And you delay wash out of that retinoid dye. To be sure, especially if this is involving the thyroid, we combine your Systemi B scan with ultrasound. Especially if there's a lesion together with your ectopic gland inside the thyroid gland. So using Systemi B with ultrasound, very high sensitivity, 75%.
Ayan. Magre-review ako.
Especially with intrathyroid parathyroid. So there are two approaches in regards to your parathyroid gland, dissection and parathyroidectomy. One is a unilateral, doing my unilateral neck exploration. So you go to one side. Now this is indicated if it's just involving one gland, one single adenoma. So you go into one side. Unilateral neck exploration or dissection. What is the advantage of unilateral exploration? Less time of operation, less morbidity and mortality, less injury to the recurrent and the remaining parathyroid. What is the disadvantage? Siyempre, isang side ka lang. You cannot explore the other 3 glands. So if you are not sure of the lesion and it is not clear to your Systemi B scan, it's better to do a bilateral exploration, especially if we are dealing with parathyroid hyperplasia. So we approach it bilaterally so that you have a good exploration of the parathyroid. Okay, but if it's just a single adenomas involving one gland, so you can do a unilateral. But you have to have better imaging and a good imaging of the parathyroid gland. If it's equivocal, you can request other imaging and you approach it bilaterally so that you can explore and examine the other glands. Okay, so if you are doing just unilateral, you can miss the other gland that contains adenoma. So you can have double adenomas in about 10% of cases. So mataas din. So what is very important is your pre-operative imaging, that you should be sure that it's not bilateral, it's not hyperplasia, but just single adenoma. The first operation should be the best operation, because if you would have reoperation, the chances of injury to the recurrent laryngeal nerve and to the other remaining parathyroid gland increases the risk. So during the surgery, so you should identify the parathyroid gland. So how do we identify the parathyroid gland? It should be found 1 centimeter, the junction of the inferior parathyroid gland, inferior thyroid artery, and the recurrent laryngeal. So if it's dorsal to the recurrent, it is the superior parathyroid gland. If it's ventral, it is the inferior parathyroid. Pag single adenoma, we just remove, we do some total parathyroid. If it's hyperplasia, we do total parathyroidectomy, but we do 3.5. The remaining 1/2 should be retained and be transplanted to the muscle, either the sternocleidomastoid muscle or the deltoid muscle, to retain the calcium metabolism. Let's go to the other type of condition that affects the parathyroid gland. We have your normal calcemic hyperparathyroidism. So these are patients with elevated parathyroid levels but normal calcium level. So they are also associated with vitamin D deficiency. So they can be also associated with osteomalacia, softening of the bone, hypercalciuria, and renal insufficiency. How about parathyroid carcinoma? So usually, as I mentioned, parathyroid carcinoma manifests severe symptoms. What do we mean by severe symptoms? They have severe pain, chronic, severe fatigue. Sometimes there is also severe epigastric pain. So severe ang symptoms of presentation. And usually they have palpable nodule in the parathyroid gland that is firm, non-movable, with irregular border. And their serum calcium levels very high also. So what is the treatment for your parathyroid carcinoma? It is an en bloc excision or resection, including the ipsilateral node that is affected, together with neck dissection. There are cases that there will be neck involvement, usually the central or your level 6 nodes. So we do neck dissection. But what is important is an en bloc resection. When we say en bloc resection, it is a total parathyroidectomy together with thyroidectomy that is affected together with neck dissection. So yung familial is involving MEN1 and MEN2A. So sa MEN1, so we can do parathyroidectomy. If there is pituitary adenoma, we do adenectomy, sphenoidal, no? And then when there is neuroendocrine tumors, we do also surgery and resection of the tumors in the pancreas. In Med2A, this involves, as I mentioned, primary hyperparathyroidism, medullary carcinoma. If it is medullary carcinoma, what is the surgery? Total thyroidectomy. For your pheochromocytoma, this is caused by adrenal adenoma. What do we do? Adrenalectomy also. Another condition is your so-called parathyroidism. Parathyroidism. What is this condition? It's a rare condition, but it is involving multiple nodules of hyperfunctioning gland. So these are patients who underwent subtotal resection of the hyperplastic glands, but you spilled over these tissues of the parathyroid gland that is left in the operative site, and they recur. So after a few months, you can still palpate the mass over the operative site. So there is the remaining hyperplastic or adenomas at the area of the operative site. And that is what we call your parathyroidism. So it left some of the tissues in the operative site and it recurred. What is the difference between persistent and recurrent hyperparathyroidism? Persistent hyperparathyroidism is that when the symptoms remain after few months, less than 6 months, it is termed as persistent. So hindi nawala yung symptoms after surgery, few weeks, it recurred. Anong cause ng persistent hyperparathyroidism? You were not able to remove the proper lesion or you miss the lesions. How about recurrent hyperparathyroidism? The symptoms occurred after 6 months. And usually this is associated with ectopic parathyroidism. So parathyroid carcinoma, it became parathyroid carcinoma, or you miss the adenomas, incomplete resection, or you have parathyroidism, or most of all, the experience surgery. Because parathyroid tumors are rare, and it's difficult to locate the parathyroid gland. So, where is the common site of your ectopic parathyroid gland? It's called in the paraesophageal groove, followed by your mediastinal area and in the thymus. You can also see it in the thyroid gland in 11%, the carotid sheath, and the high cervical area of the leg. But the most common is the paraesophageal area. Baka matanong yun. Ano naman yung hypercalcemic crisis? So this is the time when you have excessive amount of calcium. And usually this is associated with parathyroid carcinoma. Okay? So what are the manifestations? Usually they are nauseated, they vomit, and more importantly, the mentation is affected. There is a decreased level of consciousness. Yun ang key. But the patient has a high calcium level, nagvomit, nauseated, emaciated, very weak, muscle weakness, confused, especially decrease in the level of consciousness, hypercalcemic crisis. And what causes hypercalcemic crisis? Parathyroid carcinoma. Hyperparathyroid, hypercalcemic, very high level of calcium, 16 to 20 milligrams per deciliter. The tumors are large, multiple, and palpable. Usually your parathyroid nodules are not palpable. How would you locate it? Using your systemic scan. Pero pag malaki, palpable, ang taas ng level ng calcium, they can then develop hypercalcemic crisis. And what is the common cause of hypercalcemic crisis? Parathyroid carcinoma. So how do you treat this? You hydrate the patient first. Give diuretics in the form of your furosemide. So you release much of your calcium and hydrate the patient and prepare for surgery. If it's parathyroid carcinoma, so you do en-bloc resection of the parathyroid gland. So we stabilize the patient first before preparing her for, or the patient for surgery. Okay. So you should differentiate hypercalcemic crisis from primary hyperparathyroidism. And you should differentiate adenoma, hyperplasia from parathyroid carcinoma. Okay? Because those are the cases that I will give you. Pag single, smooth, firm, adenoma. Pag apat, firm, hyperplasia. If you do, what do you do? Sa total parathyroidectomy. Adenoma usually at single. Pag hyperplasia, apat. So you do 3.5, you retain half. Transplant to the muscle. If it's parathyroid carcinoma, you resect the whole parathyroid gland, including the thyroid gland that is affected and the lymph nodes that are palpable. Anong secondary hyperparathyroidism? Renal problem. Paano ko i-present yung renal problem? Mataas ang creatinine, mataas ang potassium. Then, ibibigay ko yung values. So, kailangan yung creatinine level, potassium level, at calcium level. Yun ha. Tertiary, these are patients who underwent surgery and develop autonomous parathyroid gland function, which is caused by an ectopic parathyroid. Okay? So, even sometimes you did transplant the surgery to the patient at kidney transplant, you corrected your secondary hyperparathyroidism, but it persists. So, what is the cause? Tertiary hyperparathyroidism. Okay, that's my lecture. Anything else? Any question? So, we have surgeries there.
Saan lang doon yung gumawa nung dapat nandun yun? Sabi niya, hopefully, ang po.